Hello everybody, this is Stonewall, and I know the title says we're going to talk about the Gunsmith a little bit, which we will in just a moment, but I'm well past tier 40, so I have the weapon bribe from tier 40 in the current contraband stream. So I'm going to go ahead and open that up. I am on Xbox, so we did get this a week later than PS4, so a lot of people have probably already opened theirs. But yeah, let's go ahead and open this and see what we get. Oh, we got the locust. Okay. So I was tempted to leave this for a little bit over a week until us on Xbox get the next stream, but figured I'd go ahead and open it up and just see what we were getting. I was kind of hopeful for the Argus, but I'll take the locust. Of course, it's a gun I don't have, so it might get me back into sniping a little bit. Have some fun with that. So what I wanted to talk a little bit about with the Gunsmith, and I personally don't have any footage of it and don't feel comfortable taking from anybody else. So if you want to see footage of it, it's all over the place out there. You can look it up, all of that fun stuff. But basically, you get 30 to 60 attachments per gun, which is pretty insane compared to, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 if you count the operator mod. And I know this is a shotgun, so it doesn't have as many options. Well, 9 if you want to count the optics as well. But yeah, it's pretty incredible. So again, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 if you want to count default optics on it. But yeah, probably, I mean, there may be some that get up to 15 attachments or something like that in this game, but 30 to 60 is pretty incredible. Now, the main concern I have with this is that it will get old faster than what they intend. And what I mean by that is, I like to play the game. I do like to mess around with classes and that sort of thing and customize things, but I don't want to be constantly spending half my time customizing my gun when I should be playing the game. And I know that will be part of it, and I'll probably enjoy that quite a bit for some other reasons. But just one small concern that I haven't really heard many people bring up, similar to the way some other features have been in past games. For example, the last time I jumped on World War II, I really didn't spend much time in headquarters. I just went into, jumped in matches and that sort of thing, and just kind of ignored headquarters and didn't mess with it. Another thing is, among some of these attachments, I don't know if every weapon will have this option, but you can change the caliber of the gun. And this will, of course, change the way it functions, change fire rates, damage profiles, all of that stuff. So you can change an M4, which is generally a 5.56 by 45 millimeter, to a 458 SOCOM, which is a much larger round, which should really drop your magazine capacity, but greatly increase your damage output per shot. Also penetration through cover, some of that sort of stuff I think is affected by it. Also, you can change the AK from a 7.62 by 39 to a 5.45 by 39. Just some of the ones I've seen as people scroll through all of the options in the Gunsmith, which I think is a really cool thing, because what that does is it effectively increases the number of weapons in the game just because of how much different it should handle being with a different ammo. So just kind of cool there. Something I thought about. Now, another question I have is realism. So, for example, the M4, in order to change it over to 5.45, or not 5.45, sorry, 458 SOCOM, you can use the same lower and change out the upper. Even use the same magazines as in a 5.56. You just can't, they will be single stack magazines instead of double stack, which means one round right on top of each other instead of staggered back and forth. I think there is a decent example of that in here. Let me pull up the Strife. Actually, you can see it kind of on the back, but let's run extended mags. See how the rounds are not single file on top of each other, they're staggered back and forth, that's considered a double stack magazine, which means you can fit a lot more ammo in it. But whenever you change to 458 SOCOM, the round is so large it can only be single stack, which greatly decreases the amount of ammo you have for it. So I wonder how much realism there is in some of the caliber changes. Some it would change to a completely different gun. With the M4 or AR-15 kind of platform, the M4 being more the military version, there are variations, but I won't get into that. You can change calibers relatively easy with just changing out the upper and maybe the magazine depending on the round you're using. So some platforms are very easy to do, to change the caliber, change barrels out, that sort of thing. The AK platform is a little bit more difficult to work on, so it's not that realistic that you would change to that ammo. However, there are AK platform rifles that shoot that round, the AK-12 being one of those. Then realistic changes, so changing out a stock or a grip, making sure that what it affects could actually happen in real life. So, and they try to do that with most attachments and just kind of the way it is. So, for example, adding a grip may decrease sway or recoil, that sort of thing. To me, changing the stock should also affect sway, recoil, all of that stuff. But in most games, it only affects how fast you can move while aiming down sight. So there's some things that I feel like it should change others. And then optics. So one of the things I noticed is you have a ton of options for optics. Probably from some of the footage I've seen, maybe 20 options or something on a single gun, and that is really, really cool. So you can kind of customize and you can pick out the best optic for you, whereas here you basically have 5 choices for this sniper rifle, and that's pretty that's a pretty low amount, especially since 2 of them are really like close quarters optics here, and there's only 3 that are actually much magnification at all. So pretty cool. And then the next thing that I'm looking forward to is challenges. So for one thing, curious how they play out the challenges, whether you have to run specific attachments for some of them or how they run those. Also, the challenge of the setup. So here I feel like specific setups are going to be more important as opposed to, well, depending on how much the attachments affect the overall performance of the weapon. But specific setups, as in you want to maximize your how quickly you can aim down sight. And so you may sacrifice other things for that, whether it's weapon sway, recoil, that sort of thing. But getting on target really quick may be what you want. Or if you struggle with dealing with recoil, maybe you want it to be the softest shooting gun you can get. And so you might change the caliber, you might put all the attachments on it in an effort to decrease the recoil, but wind up increasing weapon sway, increasing aim down sight time, some of that sort of thing. So whether you go for a balanced load where you try to do the most good for the weapon overall, or whether you go for a specific aspect of the weapon that you want to improve, could be kind of a challenge. Also, from the sounds of it, you can basically make a weapon worse based on the attachments you can put on it. Now, I don't know that I agree with that, but I'd be curious to see what the best and worst setups, the difference between the best and worst setups on a weapon would be, and show how much of a change it can make in gameplay. So I feel like you're going to have to make more intelligent decisions with your class setups because of the Gunsmith system. So pretty cool. I'm definitely curious to see how everything goes over with no UAV through most of the matches, unless you, of course, earn a UAV. No minimap until you earn a UAV. Which one of the difficult things for me is going into a new game, the minimap is what I rely on a lot for learning the layout of the map and learning how the map plays. So for example, whenever DLC maps get added in Black Ops 4, I'm almost constantly checking my Minimap and figuring out the layout of the map and where people are. That'll make it a little bit more difficult. I don't know how that will be for most players, but then I know that's what's going to hurt me. I also use it to see where my teammates are, see where enemies are. Not necessarily, like I think it was Ace that said people who chase dots. I'll do that some, not particularly, but I can't tell you how many times it saved my rear end whenever I see something pop up that's behind me or behind my teammates or something like that, and I'm able to react to it because I see it on the minimap first. Also, from the sounds of it, footstep audio is a little bit quieter, so that will also make that a little bit more difficult to detect people sneaking up. But it may make tactics and the ability to flank more effective. So it's rare that you can actually completely flank somebody and catch them 100% off guard if they're watching their minimap or if they're listening for footsteps. So that takes away some of that. So we'll just have to see how some of that plays out. I'm definitely going to try to play the beta. That's going to be, what is that, September 19th for us peasants on Xbox, as opposed to the royalty on PS4 or however you want to look at that. But anyways, hopefully you enjoyed that. I'm definitely going to be playing with that Locust that I just got out of the supply drop. I've also got a couple of odd classes set up. So I actually got this in one of the regular cases, which was pretty cool. But working on the operator mod challenges. So this one for the Maddox, the Hades, and then another one was improved attachments. So you have to have a level 1 and 2 attachment, or 2 sets of level 2 attachments on a weapon. So I picked the GKS, and I've been running this a little bit here lately for this set of challenges over in tactical kits. So upgraded, I'm at 136, I think it goes to 300, that's the way most of these have gone. So almost halfway there. This one I don't have a class set up for yet, but I'll probably be working on that at some point. Might have some fun doing some more melee. But anyways, hopefully you enjoyed that. If there's something else you want to hear me talk about for Modern Warfare, I of course didn't go to any events. I haven't played it. I've just watched gameplay, heard other people talk about it, all of that sort of stuff. And I wanted to give my 2 cents, however much it's worth. May not even be worth 2 cents, but anyways, hopefully you enjoyed that, and I'll catch you in another video.